So it's a great pleasure to me to introduce the next speaker, Martin Chalfie, and about his background. It was also in the first presentation as well that people think that like scientists are only working, you know, as scientists, and they don't have, you know, different hobbies, they don't have different times. However, this is completely not true. The scientists are exactly the same people like all the other ones. So also, if we look at the early ages of Marty, actually he, besides his start at academic field, he was very much interested in playing classical guitar. He spent considerable time actually on swimming, and he also came from a family which actually neither of his parents had academic career, but finally he decided that he has the curiosity to go into this field. So he started actually his first experiments, and you could see 2 hours ago when the computer didn't work, that in science that's completely normal, that the first experiment's not working. And when he started actually his career, and he actually graduated at Harvard, he started working at the researchers, but neither of his experiments were successful. So finally he said that he leaves science because, you know, it's just like waste of time to be there. And he went to actually to work in different places. Even he was working, you know, in factories and dress salesman. And finally he got a job in a laboratory where he returned to science, and he realized that indeed science can work. And that was the time that when he decided that besides the early failures, he still come back to science. If I look at actually his career, he also moved from different places to the other places for achieving more success. He always knew the next kind of experiments, which way to go. So after he received this in 1973, his PhD, after he moved later on also to Cambridge, which already were referred in the afternoon session when he said that he was working with Sidney Brenner. And later on, from 82, he is working at Columbia University, actually in New York. So if you look at what is his really became is a brilliant scientist. Actually, his unique work on the GFP, the green fluorescence protein, and actually an article in '94 came out in Science which showed for the very first time that there is a protein, a relatively small protein, which can produce light. So if you make a blue light around you, this can actually generate lights. And not only this is a very good biomarker, but this has no harmful effects on the living cells. So this was the very first time then life sciences actually had a marker and which can use not only, you know, in histological part, but in living animals as well. So after I looked at the literature, and after I realized that he had plenty of competitors, of course, and they not only wanted his competitors to have actually green fluorescence markers, which has actually not harmful, but they wanted an upgraded version of the green fluorescence protein, which can make mental stability, which can help the animals to make connection between each other. It's a better, more society one, and he's one of the biggest competitor was actually William Steig. I don't know whether the students know it or not. He published his model in 1990. Actually, 4 years before Marty produced in the '94 papers, actually in Science. And in addition, he released in 2001 video recordings. I think most of you seen this video recording, so I asked from the Nobel committee to send me this video, and I can show you that what kind of green fluorescence proteins were actually made by his competitor. So this is a recording, and you can see now an animal model which also has a green fluorescence protein and even became to be more famous than the green fluorescence organism he developed. But of course, they couldn't provide the cDNA for this animal model. And although this animal model could even have marriage, I don't know what kind of marriage because he was frightened, you know, those people who were there. But finally, of course, it was very clear that the new model, actually what he developed is completely unique. So it's not surprising, actually, that in 2008, he received the Nobel Prize, actually, jointly with Osamu Shimomura and Roger Chien for discovering it. And this was actually published over 10,000 times, and hundreds of thousands or millions of thousands of people, including me, the papers like Ola put on an hour ago, which were fully tagged with GFP protein to actually visualize green fluorescence protein. So his discovery not was only important, and most probably he didn't know at that time how much he will serve pancreatology with his discovery, but actually what we analyzed in CFTR, which was shown, we never ever been able to do that without his discovery. So as a pancreatologist, I would thank you very much for your really discovery. And he also has a family and a wonderful wife who is also working on the projects and working with different models. And of course, as I mentioned earlier as well, it's absolutely not surprising that he received huge amount of prizes, including the Nobel Prize, and still after that he's still active in science and has another activities to do so. But very important, and this is, I think, his showcase, even more important for several issues. Usually scientists, many time, they want to spend their own time only on their own research, and they are not going out for public, for stand up those things which the humanity needs, which the society needs. And he is one of the key figure about concerning climate change, and not only for climate change, but human rights as well. So he's one of really an inspirational model for everybody, that when he achieved this success, he didn't say that, okay, no, I received the Nobel Prize, no, I can get more money, I can be even more successful, but he's spending tremendous amount of time in human rights and also for climate changes. And as I just mentioned to you, that people like exactly scientists has hobbies, and besides he was really a brilliant guitar player. I wish I will have a chance maybe once to hear this one. He's also very much interested in stamps. Today morning he visited the post office in Szeged, and he came back with plenty of really treasures from the post office, and we also will have a surprise for him from the Hungarian postcard. So he also have a wisdom for young people, as I showed you, and I think his discoveries tell very clearly that understanding mechanism without even knowing what kind of benefit will it bring for pancreatology or cardiology is unbelievably important. So without hypotheses, just to understand how science works, crucially important. Because if these discoveries are not there, nobody can translate it for society benefits. So supporting basic science from institutions, from universities, from research institutions, from government has unbelievably important. So, and finally, as I mentioned also earlier, that we're really very thankful. Marty, this is his first time in Hungary. I hope he will come back, because I think Hungarian young people needs inspiration and your whole career. And I am sure you will understand after his presentation what I am speaking about is just without any example. So Marty, it's a great pleasure to welcome you on stage, and thank you very much for coming.